Yeah.
More background than us.
Yeah.
All right, first white blaze right there. Headed out on the AT, solo trip. Clingmans Dome to Cades Cove. No, excuse me, that's the wrong direction. Clingmans Dome to Davenport Gap is where I'm going this weekend. 3 nights, 42 miles. The weather looks great. Can't wait. About 2 miles in an hour. This section was supposed to be downhill, but I just got done with a brutal climb. I didn't get done with it. I got some more, but I took a break. You can see the sweat dripping. That's not rain. About 3.7 miles left until Newfound Gap. About another 2 miles beyond that for the day. So we'll see what the trail has in store for me. Just packing up after some lunch here in Newfound Gap. It's a cool place, popular spot. A lot of history here. Theodore Roosevelt stood on this podium back here and dedicated the park in which was a big step forward for conservancy. Also affected the lives of a lot of people who lived here on the lands that the park then became. My descendants or ancestors, the Walker family, is one of those families, and they probably weren't alone. There was a lot of stubbornness that came from those families who were being asked to uproot their way of life and give up their land for this purpose, and one could understand where they were coming from. But my grandmother's great aunts were the last of that Walker line to live in the park. And the legend has it is when Theodore Roosevelt came and dedicated the park on this podium, that he paid a visit to some of those more stubborn members of the residents of the Smokies. And at that time, they had not, the Walkers anyways, had not yet accepted any terms to leave the land. But legend has it that while Roosevelt was here, he paid them a visit, and maybe some other families, and a deal was agreed upon for a lifetime lease in which they could live out their days in their home where their family had been for 100 years or more. At which time, when the last sister passed away, the park would become, the land would become the parks. They were not allowed to raise livestock there anymore. They could still grow food, but they were not allowed to raise livestock. And so it changed their dynamic a little bit in having to, utilize local stores and things to get necessities. But they made it work. They piddled, and they made trinkets and sold them, and sold recipes and poetries and dolls and things like that to people who would hike the trails to visit their cabin. And the cabin's still there today, along with the corn crib and the smokehouse and the spring house and everything else. It's in the Greenbrier area, right around Metcalf Bottoms, Walker Sisters cabin. So a little bit of history there. It's a spot called the Jump Off. It's a unmarked trail off of the Boulevard Trail, off of the Appalachian Trail. Boulevard Trail leads to Mount LeConte. Bang! Socked in clouds today, but still tell how massive that thing is. Just like most of today, the trail to get into this spot is rocky and steep, and I'm looking forward to getting back out of here, grabbing my pack, and heading to the Ice Water Springs shelter. Good morning. It's Saturday, a little after 6:10. This is the current conditions of the forest. I'm off to Charlie's Bunyan to watch the sunrise, hopefully. Right now, all the stars are out, so it's everything I hoped for. Charlie's Bunyan, Saturday, September 17th. This place is pretty cool. Probably the coolest place I've been in the Smokies, maybe. I don't know. Seems like it right now. Catching my breath. Day 2, already off to a really good start. I've been on the trail for about 4 hours now, and not sure exactly how far I've gone. I just came up and around, or around and up Laurel Top, and nice long climb going down into that ravine. I think I've got about 3 more miles, so maybe an hour, until I get to the Peck's Corner shelter and stop there and have some lunch. It's a beautiful day, calm, quiet, cool, perfect conditions. Coming down the other side of Laurel Top, just spectacular views, unbelievable. Right here in our backyard. Just came up on the Hughes Ridge Trail, and I was planning on staying, or not staying, but stopping at that Peck's Corner shelter, but I don't think I want to add a mile in the wrong direction. So, just gonna keep going. Tri-corner, here I come. At a place called Eagle Rocks, I think is what it's called. About 2 miles past Peck's Corner. I don't know, 8 or 9 miles into the day. Had to do quite a climb to get up here. So I'm taking a breather and taking in the views. Up the trail, I've got Copper Gap coming up. I think probably around the other end of that knob. And then I'll climb Mount Sequoia. After that, I've got one more climb before I descend to Tri-Corner Knob. I'm thinking it's about 3 miles, something like that. So, see y'all at lunch. Just came up over Mount Sequoia, which was pretty uneventful. It was a big climb, like 30 minutes straight. I don't know how many feet I gained. I think I went from like 5,200 to 5,700, something like that. But found a decent enough spot here to stop and have my lunch finally. It's 10 till 1. Been on the trail since 6 a.m. Steady hiking since about 8 a.m. And got a little ways to go, but it's gonna take some time to fill up here. I've been looking forward to this. Saw a couple of, I think 3 backpackers today so far. 2 were going the opposite way, and 1 solo passed me somewhere around Laurel Top, just shy of, or I don't know if it's Laurel Top or not, somewhere shy of Peck's Corner. Going fast too. I don't know where I'll see her next, or if I will. Making a little salami and cheese on a spinach and herb tortilla. I'll squirt it down with some mustard and enjoy my lunch. I'll catch up with you later. Looking at the final climb up Tri-Corner, I hope, but won't be long now. I was right. We got a horse hitch rack up there. I gotta think riding a horse through here would be one of the more miserable experiences. For me anyways. Appalachian Trail north to the shelter. A little soupy. Wow, water's convenient. First one here today.
Co-op today. Fair skies, 81 degrees, 54% is humidity, no chance of rain. It's going to be in the 70s before we get done. Pride of the Southland Band is now forming its famed team. It's about to open and celebrating the 50th anniversary of the first night game at Neyland Stadium. Here come the Tennessee Volunteers on a night at Neyland Stadium, running through the tee.
That felt good too, to get my shoes off. They make my feet hurt. Yeah.
It's started day 3. Took off at about 5 till 9 this morning. A little bit later start. I think I've got 14 miles today. It's gonna be a long one. Hoping that it's mostly downhill. I know I am losing elevation net, but I don't know what kind of climbs I've got. So we'll see how it goes. Up here in a little ways, I've got Mount Guyot, which is 6,000 something feet. And I think it's got a bushwhack to the top, but I'm not sure I want to take the time to do that today. We'll see. Beautiful day in the Smokies. Appalachian Trail. Tri-corner knob to Davenport Gap. I'm circling, I guess, the north edge of Mount Guyot right now. This forest is really cool. It's so quiet. There's Mount Guyot in the background. I kind of came through and skirted it. Came around and down. And I'm heading back up around this knob. It's called Old Black. And about 1.5 miles, 2 miles from Inadu Knob. Making good time. Hiking's good today on this trail, this section of the trail. There was a, supposedly a bushwhack to summit Mount Guyot, but I didn't see it. and wasn't sure I wanted to go off trail on a steep uphill today, so I'll have to save that one for later. It's one of the better views I've seen on this trip so far. This is on the backside of Old Black Knob, and you see a really long way from up here. I don't know how well the camera's going to pick it all up, but I'm looking at Sevierville way off in the distance. Just came over Camel Hump Knob and taking a little water break here at what's called Camel Gap. Came from that direction, headed that direction towards Ross Knob, and then just beyond that is going to be Cosby Knob. A lot of the guys at the shelter said that they were going to stop at Cosby Knob for the night, but I feel like I might see them at Davenport because this is all downhill or flat, really easy to go fast. But anyways, I'm gonna stop at Cosby Knob, have some lunch probably, unless I decide I want to keep pushing. But I got about 1.4 miles to go before that decision has to be made. Coming down off Cosby Knob, just past what looks like a pretty nice campsite. I don't know if anybody stays there or not, but definitely a viable tent spot. Cosby Knob shelter's down there. I'm gonna see how far off the trail it is. I don't know if I'm gonna go in there or not. I just have lunch at the trailhead, or the junction rather. Keep on trucking. Cosby Knob shelter. Nice place. Lunchtime. Made it to Cosby Knob shelter. It's a nice place. Doesn't look like there's a whole lot of places to set up a tent, but like I said, I did see what looked to me like a typical backcountry campsite up the trail a little ways. Looked like somebody had dragged some limbs across the entrance, maybe to say, you're not supposed to camp here. But if you're tenting, it looks like a pretty good spot to me. According to the signs, I'm at 7.6 miles since I left Tri-Corner. Left there just a little bit before 9 o'clock, so I've been on the trail for about 3 hours, 15 minutes, something like that. Call it 3 hours, because I've stopped a few times. So, not bad. 7.6 in 3 hours. I hope the next 7 into Davenport Gap is similar to this. Maybe the descents will be a little more gradual. Feet are getting beat up. Well, this thing does not want to open. All right, lunch is done, packed up, back on the trail to Davenport Gap. Garmin says I've got 4.3 miles to go, but the maps, my map said, the paper map that is, looked like it was more in the area of 6 or 6.5, so big difference. I'm gonna take the map's word for it. Maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised if I get there early. One thing I didn't mention about Cosby Knob Shelter was up until just a couple of days ago, it was closed temporarily because of bear activity. Even the ranger that I talked to on Thursday told me that was the case, but people I've been with today and yesterday said that they got permits for it. So I don't know, maybe it opened up on Friday, or maybe I got some outdated information. That was quite the climb out of there. Back downhill now though. I'll see you at the next stop. Just came out of Low Gap. And I know why it's called Low Gap. Because you gotta climb 500 feet in half a mile to get out of it. That was a test right after lunch with a full belly. So now I'm coming up on Sunup Knob. I don't know if you're gonna pick that up on the camera. It's a big boy. Map looks like the trail's gonna skirt around the side of it, but I'm sure I'll have to do a little bit of climbing, one step at a time. Here at the Mount Camerer Trail, it's a 1.2 mile up and back that takes you to the Mount Camerer Firehouse or Observatory. AT goes this way, Camerer Trail goes this way. I've wanted to see this tower for a while, but I don't think today's the day. I've got 5.2 left, and my feet are pretty beat up. And honestly, I'm just looking forward to getting to the shelter and taking a load off. So 5.2 remain. This is basically the Mount Camerer view without going to Mount Camerer. So you take what you can get. That's pretty nice up here though. Davenport Gap Shelter, right there. My day is soon to be over. Just got a little bit of trail to walk. Somehow get all the way down into there. My feet have had it. Looking forward to checking them out. Should be some nice big blisters on there. I don't know, maybe not. I know there's a couple that I treated this morning. We'll check that out and be glad that I made it. Tomorrow's a shorter day. Appalachian Trail, Clingmans Dome to Davenport Gap, day 3. Davenport Gap. Home for the evening. This place has a chain link fence on the front of it because, according to the Park Service, there's not a good spot to put the bear cables up around here. It's gonna get dark here early tonight. All right, day 4, leaving out Davenport Gap. Two and some change to do before I get picked up at the Waterville Road exit. Had a great camp last night. Just me and 3 other guys in the shelter. One guy finishing his through hike today. Another guy breaking off a big section. And then the third guy finished from Virginia to Maine and then came back to Virginia to head south to Springer, which is called a flip-flop, I learned. It's pretty cool. So anyways, it was a nice night. It's another beautiful day today. Just a short walk, and this trip will be complete. I'll see you down the trail. This is a through hiker permit box. So they have completed the Smokies when they get to this point. Which way from here? So I'm jumping back on the trail here. I wasn't sure what I was supposed to do because I didn't see on my map where I was going to be crossing a road, but I'm actually out of the Smokies and into Cherokee National Forest now. I think I got a few miles until I get to the road crossing at I-40. Yeah, 1.9. So on the right track now. Bath time. Perfect spot for it. Official end of the road. Maybe a few steps on the asphalt to get to where Corey's gonna pick me up at. I got run out of my bath spot. Oh boy, had some work to get done. I was already cleaned off, just trying to get dressed, and it was a standoff. So I finally threw my clothes on and let him get after it. But glad to be done. I'm glad I did it. Looking forward to the next one.